I believe many people have experience in finding a house online. Sometimes do you see some cheapness and a very beautiful house makes people full of expectations. But when I clicked in, I didn't have that photo. So disappointed. Then he cursed the person in charge in his heart. No photos taken. Is a lazy guy. In fact, many times there are no photos. Usually not a real estate agent. But there are other reasons. For example, there may be people living in the house. Inconvenient to take pictures. Some are fishing objects. It's a fake object that attracts guests. But more objects that can't be put in photos. You must be curious. Why is there no way to put photos because of photos of some objects? No matter how you shoot, there is a problem. Or can't take it out. What's more ferocious is that no one dares to shoot. And the first day I just joined the job before I met a house like this. I remember the first day I just entered the company. The store manager gave the senior the keys to 3 houses. Asked him to take me to take pictures of the house. That afternoon, senior took me to take pictures. When in the first 2 houses, seniors take pictures while taking pictures. While teaching me the skills and logic of taking pictures. I also roughly mastered the trick. On the way to the last room, senior said, "Let's practice shooting for you in the last one." Arrived at the destination. It was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. My senior and I opened the door and entered the house. As soon as we opened the door, just feel it. This house is compared to the 2 just now. The air seems to be a little worse. It seems a bit damp and cold inside too. Anyway, senior and I are 2 people. Still enter the house. Get to work. I'm taking pictures. Then the senior guided me. Toilet, kitchen. After the porch and corridor are finished, there is no problem checking the photos. The 2 of us walk to the room. Senior walked to the balcony of the room. Open the floor-to-ceiling windows. Then I want to take a picture of the balcony first. After I finished filming the balcony, then we checked the photo of the balcony just now and it's okay. Come again, there is only room left. You can call it a day after shooting. Senior and I are 2 people. Standing in the corner near the balcony. We plan to face the room. Shoot in the direction of the closet. Press the shutter after focusing. Don't know why. The camera has become continuous shooting mode. Took several shots in a row. I thought to myself, maybe when I just checked the photo, accidentally adjusted to continuous shooting mode. After I transferred back to normal mode, intend to remake. But I can't focus on anything. Just when I was wondering, why can't the camera focus? Senior seems to feel something is wrong. At this moment, floor-to-ceiling windows on the balcony. Suddenly closed it by yourself very hard. The 2 seniors and I were taken aback. The 2 of us were suddenly in a situation. Scared at a loss. Took a look at each other. At this moment, there was a percussion sound in the closet. My senior and I saw this situation. Run out without saying a word. After escaping outside, senior quickly closed the door and locked it. I asked my senior what happened just now. Senior looked at me and said, "Some kind of supernatural spiritual attack, right? Look at the power of closing the window just now. It's a bit bad." Seems very angry. Because we don't want to enter the house anymore. So we don't care if the balcony window is unlocked. Just run back to the car quickly. After getting in the car, Senior asked me to check the photo I just took. So I turned on the camera and checked. The weird thing is, photos that were originally checked in the house without a problem, it all turned dark. And only normal photos. It's a photo of the room taken with a continuous shutter. But it's a normal photo. It's just because of those photos. It's not just pitch black. Actually, those photos are not normal at all. Because of the first room photo, I photographed the dark shadow of a woman standing by the closet. Because it's a photo taken with a continuous shutter. So, take a look at the content. Just photograph the shadow of that woman. Go to our camera. That is, the direction of the balcony. Continuous photos coming close. After the two seniors and I finished reading the photos, too scared to speak. Cold sweat DC. I didn't expect the first day of entry. I encountered this kind of horror. I asked Senior and said, "What to do? Do you want to go back to the house to remake it?" Senior said, "Are you crazy? As a newcomer, stop it. Life is more important than work. Quickly delete all the photos. Wait, go back to the store. I'll explain the situation to the store manager again." Later, back to the store. We report to the store manager what just happened. The store manager didn't say anything. Just ask another senior in the store to shoot tomorrow. The next day, seniors go to that house. He was so scared that he fled back to the store without even taking a picture. Because no one dares to go to that house again. It's impossible to waste manpower just to take a picture. Send a large group of people over together to be bold. So there is no way. After that, the object is on the web page. There are no indoor photos. As for what happened to that house, honestly I don't know. Because that was when I was a newcomer. And the store manager is personally responsible for the item. The store manager also rented out the house soon. So I don't know the real situation. But the store manager is a very amazing person, because I have worked in that store for several years. On the internet. As long as it is in the case he is responsible for. Most of them have no indoor photos. Because of the problematic items in the store. It's all run by the store manager himself. Did not deal with us. Maybe it's because the store manager is worried about us people. Can't handle this type of house, right, and the store manager is interested in that kind of accident. He just has a way to find buyers and tenants. The most amazing thing is, his guests are usually very satisfied with their stay. So, next time you are on the internet, I saw objects without indoor photos again. That means the person in charge may be an amazing guy. And inside the house, it's also very likely something incredible exists. This is a residential area in Tokyo where I used to be. What happened when selling the house? I had it on hand at that time. Here comes an object that has been sold for a long time. It was a case that was transferred to me after the senior left the job. But I have never seen that object. I've never heard my predecessors mention it. I picked up the information of the house that day and looked at it. I look at the market around me. And the area and age of that house. Find the price of the house for sale. The cheap one is a bit amazing. And now the owner bought it for investment. I bought it for several years and haven't rented it out a few times. It's also empty now. It seems that this house is being sold at a loss of money. Then I scanned it with my eyes. That's very few. Very lazy to take a look at the record. Most of the content is some. The buyer cannot accept the normal condition of certain shortcomings. But suddenly, I saw a very weird record. Take the guests to see the room on the second floor by the road. Be careful. I looked at this record and thought, what the hell is this? My curiosity. I was aroused by that record all of a sudden. So I decided to go to that house first in the afternoon. After taking a closer look at the situation. How to sell after I want to say. After eating at noon that day. Just follow the address to the location of the house. That house is in a narrow alley. Looks like it's just a normal house. I looked at the window upstairs and thought, is that room strange? It's been empty for a while. Why are the curtains still installed? Forget it, go ahead and have a look. So I opened the door and entered the house. Because no one has lived for a long time. There is a musty smell inside. But the lighting is very good. I shook a little bit on the first floor. The pattern is very good. The space is also spacious. After looking at the room on the first floor, my confidence in sales has increased greatly. Become quite active. But as soon as I got to the second floor, I found out I was wrong. I'm in the corridor on the second floor. Looking at how many rooms are on the left and right sides of the corridor. The doors are closed. A bit weird. But even though the doors of the room are closed, I still feel there is a room. Exudes a strong nasty smell. I thought, the information should be that room, right? I first opened the doors of the rooms that had no sense of violation. Took a closer look inside. Then, I walked to the door of the room that disgusted me. Don't know why. I grabbed the door handle. From the other side of that door, feel a kind of naked malice that wants to harm me. Honestly, I'm a little scared. The body's instinctive response is, the door should not be opened. Although I feel this way. But as a professional real estate salesperson, no matter what, you still have to see it. How else to sell? So, I implemented the will of the professional spirit. Opened that door. After opening the door, the room is dark and scary. Can't see anything. I used the light of my phone to take a picture inside. The walls of the entire room, ceiling, and the ground, they are all painted with all black paint. Even the curtains are painted black with black paint. I thought to myself, natural light can't come in. No wonder it's so dark. So I walked quickly to the window, opened the curtains to let the light in. Then immediately turn around. Want to see the condition of the room clearly. I was taken aback when I turned around. Because the walls and ceilings of the room, all normal white paint. The floor is the normal wood color. I was taken aback for a moment. Thinking stupidly in the same place. What happened to the all black situation just now? I turned my head intuitively to confirm. Curtains at the rear of the right. Is it the same as what I saw before I opened it blacked out? As a result, I looked at the curtains. I saw a black figure standing by the curtain. Corners that are not exposed to sunlight. And that black figure, and a pair of living eyes, staring at me. I was so scared that I took a breath, then ran out of the room yelling, closed the door and ran away to the first floor. After arriving on the first floor, I thought it was okay. Unexpectedly, I heard from the room upstairs the sound of opening the door hard. Then there was a sound of footsteps that seemed to be very angry. Rushed to the stairs. I was so scared that my heart almost stopped. Hurry up and get everything. Then fled outside the door. As soon as you escape, close the door and lock it. I sat in front of the door and kept panting. Nasty sweat on his face. Just now, what the hell is that? I thought to myself. There's something weird in it. How is this house going to be sold after a while, after calming down? I walked to the road. Raised his head in fear. Look at the window of the room on the second floor. The curtain I opened. It is already in the state of being pulled up. Seeing this situation, I was so scared that I hurriedly left the front of that house. Later, I still go to talk to nearby residents. Inquired about the previous condition of the house. I'm in the park. From those gossip-loving housewives, I found out something about the house. They told me that house, originally a family lived in it. The family is very friendly to the neighbors. But they, later, it seems to have joined some kind of religion. Because people nearby often see strange people go in and out of their house at night. They will often be in the room on the second floor in the middle of the night, worshipping something, do some weird rituals. Everyone can always hear, from the second floor room. There was a very noisy sound. The neighbors nearby are starting to take it too much. The police often visit that family in the middle of the night. After that, the family talked to the neighbors nearby. I didn't get along well at first. Later that family. Some unfortunate things have happened in a row. Male children in the family inexplicably suffered accidents one after another and died. And the hostess suddenly went crazy. Then one day he disappeared inexplicably. Only the male owner and a daughter are left. But one night in the middle of the night, they suddenly moved and ran away. The house was sold to the current owner. After listening to what those people said, I'm scared. Because I thought, that black figure, does it have anything to do with the religious rituals in their mouths later? Because I was too scared. So under my various requests, the store manager just put the sales case. It was sent to other bold seniors to deal with it. After that, the house has been lacking in interest. The sales price has also become lower. And every time, as long as I happened to pass by the front of that house, I looked up at the closed curtains on the second floor. I always think about it in my heart. This house, I won't be able to sell it in the future, right? This was a long time ago. I worked for a real estate agency, mainly responsible for taking care of the work content of the rental house. In this industry, always encounter some bad objects. It's like a house where a death happened. And this kind of house, if it meets customer needs, it is also necessary to find a way to introduce. Although the company doesn't really want to deal with the house where the accident occurred. But among the old objects, there are still many such houses. So there is no way to avoid it. And I have been in this industry for a while. So I'm used to everything when I encounter this kind of house. But there will still be terrifying cases. One day, a property company entrusted us with a house. It's a 2-bedroom and 1 living room. A house close to the station. But the rent is only 24,000 yen. Will be so cheap. Of course it's because it's an accident. To advertise that house. So I decided to take the newcomer. Go to the scene to take photos in the room. I went to the property company to pick up the keys that day. By the way, I asked about the house. The other party told me what happened in that house. After roughly understanding the situation, we set off to the scene of the incident. Arrived at the scene, me and the younger generation start taking pictures of the house. Usually the work of taking pictures can be over in 5 to 10 minutes. But because of the photos taken, filled with some strange bubble ball dots, so I'm a bit caught in a bitter battle. We also feel uneasy while filming. When we photograph the room, to make the room look more spacious, I told the younger generation to open the closet. The moment he opened it, suddenly a tremor hit. A woman slowly walked out of the closet. And incredibly, his height is unusually high. Looks more than 200 centimeters. My head is up to the ceiling. Then I smelled a very stinky smell. It smells like fishy. I was scared by such an emergency situation. The younger generation was so scared that their legs were soft and they knelt to the ground. Let out a scream. I'm scared, while feeling my consciousness blurred. The last picture I saw, it was the woman staring at the face of the younger generation. The scene of weird laughter. That weird laughter gave me goosebumps all over my body. Then I felt dizzy. I'm in a terrible vortex of fear. Lost consciousness. Until my phone rings. The sound brought me back to consciousness. I picked up the phone. It's from the boss. Because 3 hours have passed. And we haven't returned to the company yet. So he called to ask about the situation. I hurriedly explained to my boss what just happened. But he didn't believe what I said. After hanging up the phone, I started looking for younger generations. Found him in the closet in the room. I woke him up. He told me what he saw. He said, he saw a man with a shovel in his hand. Man covered in blood. After that, he lost consciousness. What he saw was different from what I saw. I fell into an incomprehensible and in a state of shock. And he is also in a groggy state. Because both of us were so scared that we lost our minds. So I returned to the company. After returning to the company, let him go back to rest early. The next day, the younger generation didn't come to work for no reason. Didn't answer the call. Then he never came to the company again. Later, I got in touch with the younger generation's family. I learned that he was so scared that he fled back to his hometown. And after returning home, he locked himself in the room. Don't step out of the room anymore. After a while, I also rent a house from the business. Changed the runway to buy a house. But I don't want to go through such a terrifying thing anymore. When I was 10 years old, there are about 2 or 3 weeks, I had a terrible nightmare. And keep repeating. The story is like this. Because I was young at the time. So I don't have much memory. But listen to my mother. I scream every night. While rolling on the floor. Tugging at the throat. When I wake up in the morning. Sweaty all over. If it's just one night, it's nothing. But he continues every night. This kind of suffering is really terrifying. Then I started to lack sleep. So the weight began to drop. Thin like skin and bones. The complexion becomes very bad. The color of the skin like clay. Although I have seen various doctors and psychics. But they have no idea what caused it. The night continues. My nightmare continues. My parents are also for this reason. And started to lose weight. I even think Are my parents sicker than me? But as mentioned earlier, I will be saved in 2 or 3 weeks. But the benefactor who saved me was neither a spiritual power nor a spiritual power. Not a monk either. Priests, etc. Guess what? Who saved me? I don't think you can guess. The correct answer is the hypnotist. Although he is an amateur hypnotist. But my father once had a slight phobia. And he was easily cured. So I also decided to receive his treatment. That Mr. Hypnotist judged me to be the same as my father. Are all people who are easily hinted at? His combat strategy is to take the method of making me forget the nightmare. Strange to say, when I woke up, can still clearly remember the content of the dream. But this situation is limited to a series of nightmares. Mr. Hypnotist asked me to put the content of the dream, written on a piece of paper representing the house. It's painful to think back to nightmares. That's a nasty process. The hypnotist put the piece of paper in a box. Put a note on the lid, so it can't be opened. Then hide the box in a place where there is only me. And the place he just knew. I can't make that place specific. But what I want to express is, that's a box that can be easily obtained. But a corner that is absolutely impossible to be discovered by others. It's impossible for even parents to find out. Mr. Hypnotist told me, there's nothing to be afraid of. Because the nightmare is already trapped in this place. So don't be afraid. As long as you don't open the box by yourself, then there is no problem. It will be fine. The incredible thing is, this is the right thing to do. Because I was freed from the nightmare. You can imagine our whole family at that time. How grateful to Mr. Hypnotist. But the box full of nightmare seeds, still within my reach. This thing has been lingering in a corner of my heart. When I graduated from college, when I returned home, I suddenly remembered. By the way, what about that box? Because I suddenly remembered, so I'm curious. And I care so much. How terrible was the dream at that time? I know best myself. But I forgot the content. But the emotion of fear and fear do exist. But the fear of childhood. Adults usually look very naive. I am now. How much can I guess what Mr. Hypnotist said at the time? What kind of suggestive effect does it have on yourself? I also fully understand that kind of magic technique. I thought to myself, I want to expose the fear of the time to the sun. Think of him as a funny joke. So I secretly went to get out the box. I can see that the note on the lid is covered with dust. So I started to pull the edge of the note with my nails. Want to tear off the note. At this moment, dreams that have been forgotten for more than 10 years. The various scenes of the dream suddenly began to reappear in my mind. I'm in a Japanese-style room, watching the light shine into the Japanese-style sliding door. The sliding door is the kind that opens horizontally and can be pulled. Wooden door glued with white paper. I looked around. Through the sliding door, I can see the shadow of bamboo leaves outside the corridor. Fell down. At this time I found one of the sliding doors. There is a neat square window the size of a window. I saw one there. The face of the Japanese god of Ebisu Fuku. He was smiling at that window. But only the face. Look through the sliding door. There is only a swaying bamboo shadow on his lower body. There is no shadow of the lower body at all. This scene is weird and disgusting. And behind me there are 2 sliding doors. I know clearly. There are many rooms behind the door. After the sliding door opens, you will see two sliding doors again. The kind of concept that has continued. At this moment I vaguely heard a small voice. Cuckoo's voice. Like the sound of a pigeon. Immediately after. What followed was that I heard it coming from a distance. The sound of sliding doors being opened one after another. And it's getting faster and faster. What's there? Coming towards me with all your strength. At this moment, a man's weird laughter appeared in his ear. It's the kind of voice that feels happy from the bottom of my heart. The voice is getting louder and louder. Getting bigger and bigger. He is getting closer and closer. It's almost on my side. I was so scared that I froze. Never look back. I am sure in my heart that I will never look back. This is the sliding door behind me that was opened. That thing is near my neck. Exhaled his stench. I think. He did it on purpose. Then he whispered to me in his ear. Throw away the box. At this moment I jumped out of that scene in an instant. Come back to your senses. I breathe fast. The heart beats non-stop. So I put the box back in place. Then I hurriedly fled back to my home in Tokyo. Since then, I never thought of opening the box again. So now, block the nightmare box. Still in my hometown.